He was taking a plane home for the new year for the first time, but the moment he boarded, he found his seat had been taken by a mischievous child. Just as he was about to lose his patience, the flight attendant came over, but instead of asking the child to move, she directly led Balthazar to first class. At the same time, Alice, who was a company president, was being bothered by a bald man, so she quickly pulled Balthazar to sit beside her, and only then did the bald man finally stop. Throughout the flight, Alice kept working with full focus, while Balthazar was happily playing with the reclining seat and trying to get Alice's attention. But this confident and strong woman would never imagine that the boy beside her would completely change her life. Just then, the plane suddenly encountered strong turbulence. The aircraft began to shake violently, and all the passengers were instantly thrown into panic. Even the flight attendants. As the shaking grew more intense, the cabin fell into complete darkness. Alice instinctively grabbed Balthazar's hand, and although Balthazar didn't pull away, he was extremely nervous. So nervous that he couldn't speak or even breathe normally.
Pardon. Non, c'est pas grave, y a pas de souci.
This is a film that can make even someone over 40 want to fall in love again, and even 30 years later, it still feels timeless. In the end, the plane safely landed, and as Alice was packing her luggage to leave, Balthazar finally asked for her name.
Ravi d'avoir frôlé la mort en votre compagnie en tout cas.
Au revoir.
Balthazar. Je m'appelle Balthazar.
Alice.
Watching her graceful figure walk away, Balthazar felt a wave of disappointment in his heart. She was so strong and remarkable, while he was just an ordinary office worker. At that moment, he accidentally noticed a USB drive Alice had dropped on the floor, and he quickly unbuckled his seatbelt and ran after her. However, Alice had already gotten into her friend's car and left. The next day, Alice walked into the office with confidence, and her presence made everyone greet her politely, but behind her back, they mocked her and called her an out-of-touch older woman. Alice didn't care about these whispers. She only focused on doing her job well and becoming the next editor-in-chief of the magazine. But what she didn't expect was that the position was given to Jonah. Alice was shocked and confused by the decision, because she was clearly the most capable candidate. But the boss's explanation made her emotions waver even more. The boss said that while Jonah was not as skilled as Alice, she had a cheerful personality, got along well with the whole team, and had flexible ideas that would help the company's future development. Compared to Alice, who always appeared serious, Jonah had more energy and openness. Alice did not argue with the boss. She quietly accepted the decision and decided to bury herself in work. But when Alice turned on her computer to check documents, she was horrified to find her USB drive missing. Just when she was extremely anxious, she noticed a note on her desk saying that a man had come to deliver something, but she had been busy at the time. Alice quickly dialed the number on the note, and Balthazar, who was celebrating at a bar with his classmates, cheerfully told her the address. Without hesitation, Alice headed toward the bar, a place she had never set foot in before. But the only thing on her mind was retrieving the USB so she could continue working. But the USB wasn't with Balthazar, so Alice had to follow him home to get it. Yet the moment she stepped out of the bar, she froze. A worn-out pink moped was parked outside, and she never imagined she would ride such a strange vehicle home. But seeing the seriousness in Balthazar's eyes, she quietly accepted it. When Alice struggled to put on the helmet, Balthazar stepped forward to help, and at that moment, one of her colleagues secretly took a photo. From the colleague's perspective, it looked like they were sharing an intimate moment, and it instantly became shocking gossip material. They had only met once, yet Alice felt an indescribable sense of trust toward this young man, and she followed him home without hesitation. After retrieving the USB, Alice immediately turned to leave, but Balthazar clearly had something more he wanted to say.
L'après-midi, moi je suis assez dispo. Et puis pas forcément café, hein. Je suis très Sprite, tout ce qui est soda, c'est une boisson gazeuse.
Écoutez, je sais que c'est très à la mode en ce moment et c'est vraiment gentil, mais je suis débordée, puis c'est pas du tout mon genre. Au revoir.
Her rejection pierced the sensitive heart of the young man like a silent blow, but he never imagined that soon she would be the one pursuing him. The next day, Alice entered the office with her usual confidence, but her co-workers whispered among themselves and cast her strange looks, which left her confused. Her close friend then handed her a photo, and the content left Alice stunned. She immediately went to the boss to explain that she had not done anything inappropriate, but the boss's reply once again unsettled her emotions.
Pourquoi tu te prends la tête? C'est ça que je veux voir chez toi, moi. C'est ça que je cherche. Un peu de folie, un peu de magie. Là, avec le petit, tu me fais rêver. Bah, t'as l'esprit rebelle. Et c'est bien, c'est ce que j'aime.
Alice stood in place, unable to calm down for a long time. Her ex's betrayal had once shattered her belief in love, and after the divorce, she became a 38-year-old single mother who lived only for her daughter and her work, never considering romance again. Her friend advised her to start a new relationship, not only to find companionship, but to give her daughter a complete family, and even to help her advance faster at work. Back home, she turned the music up high, poured herself a glass of wine she hadn't touched in a long time, and opened the wardrobe she had not opened for years. In that moment, a bold decision began to form in Alice's heart. She set aside her usual strong aura and dressed herself in an elegant and charming outfit before going to Balthazar's school. When she appeared, the group of teenage boys instantly became excited. Balthazar never imagined Alice would come to school to find him.
Bonjour.
Bah écoute, j'avais perdu ton number en fait.
Ah.
Et je me suis dit que le plus simple c'était encore de passer. Carrément. Ça fait plaisir de te voir. Bah tu me fais visiter?
Being so close to her again made Balthazar nervous, and Alice's beauty was now deeply imprinted in his heart. They toured the school together, and before they parted, Alice suddenly invited him to dinner, and Balthazar agreed without hesitation. During the dinner, Balthazar noticed the restaurant using new projection technology at the entrance, which sparked his curiosity. And this time, Alice joined in his playful enthusiasm. All of this was seen by Alice's colleagues, who were shocked by her change. Then the two went to the rooftop together, and as the breeze gently brushed past, Balthazar shared many creative design ideas, and Alice couldn't help smiling, her eyes shining with admiration. After that, the two began spending time together more often, and Alice even got used to the old pink moped. One rainy evening, Alice received a call from her older sister, and to give her privacy, Balthazar stepped away, but he still remembered to shield her from the rain. But Balthazar didn't know that Alice's sister was arranging a matchmaking meeting for her. She told Alice that the man was successful and, more importantly, didn't mind that Alice had a daughter. Her sister urged her to return immediately, and feeling pressured, Alice lied to Balthazar, saying her daughter was sick and she needed to go home right away. Hearing this, Balthazar ran into the street and stopped a taxi for her. In that moment, his expression was no longer that of a nervous young boy, but of someone reliable, and Alice couldn't help but smile softly. Back home, Alice quickly slipped into the rhythm of the blind date. The man was witty and wealthy, and he did seem like an ideal marriage partner. However, Balthazar's image kept lingering in Alice's mind. Her expression drifted and wavered, and this made the blind date destined to fail. But Alice did not care. Her feelings with Balthazar were steadily warming up, and the two of them went hand in hand to a fashion show. The venue gathered many power players from the fashion world, and Alice kept reminding him not to touch anything. Yet when he saw a model fall and no one moved to help, his kind nature pushed him to rush onto the runway without hesitation. The model was not hurt and left in embarrassment, and Balthazar was left standing on the stage not knowing what to do. Fortunately, the big names did not blame Balthazar, and instead he left a deep impression on them. After the show, Balthazar took Alice home, and the dark night made their feelings rise. Perhaps they had not played enough, or perhaps they did not want to part yet, so they decided to go to a dance and enjoy themselves once more. Although neither of them drank, their feelings were subtle, and the close dancing gradually drew them into each other. Afterward, Balthazar took Alice home again. Balthazar gathered his courage to try to hold Alice's hand, but Alice flusteredly pulled away because all kinds of uncertainties still hovered in her heart. And the biggest problem was the 20-year age gap. Balthazar forced out a small smile and said goodnight, but watching Alice walk away made a new wave of sadness rise in his heart. He wanted to try once more, so he gathered his courage and rang the doorbell. When Balthazar learned that her daughter was not at home, he decisively leaned in for a kiss, and Alice did not resist. Perhaps she had been waiting for this moment too. In this way they finally confirmed their relationship. Early the next morning, Alice urged Balthazar to leave quickly, because her sister and daughter were about to come home, and she did not want them to see this scene. Balthazar hurriedly put on his clothes to say goodbye, and when he reached the door, Alice suddenly followed, gave him a sweet kiss, and Balthazar melted into the sweetness at once. But when Alice was about to leave for work, she found a sign hanging on the big tree, and arrows drawn on the ground. Following the arrows step by step, she was surprised to find a recorder under a chair. She put on the headphones. Balthazar's voice sounded at once, and he invited Alice on a date. Alice excitedly rode his distinctive little pink scooter, and the two of them wove through streets and alleys together. Happiness spread across their faces, and Alice once again felt the beauty of life, which gave her more inspiration and creativity at work. Her huge transformation made her colleagues cheer for her, and they were sure she would become even better. But life is often full of twists, and reality often brings dramatic turns. On one of their dates, Balthazar suddenly confessed to Alice, and Alice felt joy in her heart and listened carefully to every word he said. However, a sudden call from her daughter pulled them back to reality.
Les désagréments de la mère de famille.
Je le ferai avec.
Ça te fait envie d'attendre sur un palier pendant 1 heure que Zoé aille se coucher pour regarder un DVD avec moi sur un canapé? Qu'est-ce qui va se passer une fois qu'on se sera vu, revu et re-revu? Je crois pas que ce soit une bonne idée de continuer à se voir.
At that moment, Balthazar was left speechless. He had never thought through these practical issues, and he could not give Alice a clear answer. In the end, Alice could only leave helplessly, and perhaps never meeting again was the best ending. After separating from Alice, Balthazar fell completely into a slump. He stayed at home every day, cut off from the outside world, as if he had lost his passion for life. Alice was no different, and her work hit a bottleneck. That day, a major client came to the company to choose photo styles, but still could not find any satisfactory images. By chance, the boss noticed Balthazar on Alice's computer wallpaper, and immediately decided to have Alice invite Balthazar to shoot the ad. Although Alice tried to refuse, her boss agreed on the spot, and even warned Alice in a threatening tone that if she could not bring him for the shoot, she would face losing her job. Alice was caught in a dilemma, and she had no choice but to find Balthazar again and ask for his help. After a long separation, the two of them could not regain their past feelings, and there was only awkwardness and distance between them. Balthazar was unwilling in his heart, but he still agreed to the shoot, and he hoped to use this chance to win Alice's heart back. But while chatting with Alice's friend, he accidentally learned a shocking secret. The things Alice had done with him before were all for her promotion at work. Balthazar's heart dropped to the bottom in an instant, but to protect Alice's last bit of dignity, he did not question her directly, and instead, under everyone's gaze, he gave her a fierce kiss. Perhaps it was to vent his frustration, or perhaps it was to play a public prank on Alice. But during the following shoot, the photographer's unreasonable behavior finally made him explode. He felt he was being treated like a joke. He refused to endure such humiliation anymore, and he decided to abandon the collaboration. Seeing things go wrong, Alice hurried after him, and she asked Balthazar to finish the shoot first. But even now she was still thinking about her work. Balthazar could no longer hold back.
Bluffant, putain. Moi j'ai rien vu, je suis pas jury au César, mais ça je pense que ça méritait une petite statuette, ouais. Dans le rôle de la bourgeoise coinceuse qui fait semblant de se sortir son balai du cul et tout ça pour avoir une putain de promotion. Je nomme qui? Je nomme Alice Lantas. Alice Lantas, mesdames et messieurs, on l'accueille bien fort, on l'applaudit.
But when he turned his head, he saw Alice's boss watching coldly from the side. Balthazar went blank for a moment, like a child who had done something wrong, because even then he was instinctively thinking on Alice's behalf. Watching Balthazar leave in disappointment at last, Alice felt a surge of guilt and self-reproach. After that, Alice still lost her job because of this incident, and she lost herself as well. Only in a low point like this could she listen to the voice of her own heart. She saw other people riding little pink scooters, yet she could not find one that belonged to her. The old sign still hung on the tree at the door, but now it had lost its arrow and lost its direction. Then Alice quietly took out the recorder, and the moment she heard Balthazar's voice, she felt a safety she had never known. At that moment she understood that she had fallen deeply in love with the boy who was 20 years younger than her. She no longer wanted reality to suppress her feelings, so she decided to look for Balthazar and pursue her love. She went to Balthazar's school and rushed into Balthazar's classroom, but unexpectedly, Alice was mistaken for a temporary substitute teacher and was asked to teach the whole class. Under everyone's gaze, Alice froze like a statue and did not know what to do. However, the moment her eyes met Balthazar's, she decided to be brave once more for her own happiness.
J'étais nulle, Balthazar. Je pense à toi, mais tout le temps, en fait. Ces nuits-là, je faisais pas semblant.
Et juste un truc.
Oui.
Une fois qu'on sera revu, revu, qu'est-ce qui va se passer, hein?
Alice did not answer with words and instead kissed him decisively. In that instant she cast off the restraints of age and convention without hesitation and firmly embraced the one she loved. Love is sometimes this unpredictable, letting us meet the most suitable person amid the crowds. As long as the love in our hearts is still burning, we should firmly pursue our own happiness.